Hello everyone. Good evening, good evening. How's it going? Okay, so let me double check that everything I need is here. Okay, I gotta make a post in Discord real quick. Then we'll get started. One second. Yep. Okay. Cool. Okay. Hey, -1. How was my day? My day was kind of like a blur. Lots of stuff going on everywhere all at once. Trying to keep my focus on stuff, but like being pulled multiple directions. But it went by pretty fast. Sometimes that's a good thing, I suppose. Okay. So we are hopping back on to the illustration. I've been working on this every now and then, trying to find more time to work on it, because we need to get it done. But you can see it's changed. I was working on this on my iPad, so I kind of have to reorganize stuff real quick for what did I just cut? Yes, I messed up my layers. I was not paying attention and I drew on the same layer that I shouldn't have. Like, it always happens. And I was using Procreate because I let my subscription for Clip Studio Paint on the iPad, like, I didn't renew it. So I couldn't use Clip on there. But I don't really like using Clip Studio Paint on my iPad because all the interface is really tiny. So I was fine using Procreate, but with Procreate, it's kind of awkward for me because I don't know all of the like shortcuts and stuff. So when I accidentally make a -1, thank you for the 50. A hard day, right? It was one of the rougher ones, I would say. But it's okay. Thank you for the donation one more time. Can't see this for free. This is for Air and the Crab Cult. Thank you. But yeah, the Procreate is kind of awkward still for me. I don't use it frequently enough. So I don't like have the muscle memory, or like, it's kind of awkward when you make a mark or something on a layer you're not supposed to, and like you try to cut and paste it out of that layer and put it on something else, it doesn't have the most like intuitive like selection and cut and paste and like delete. Or maybe it does and I just don't know what's going on, but you know, that could be a possibility too. It's not always the program's fault. But yeah, that's why I am like taking a little bit of time to reorganize my layers right here. This should have been my character. That is my character. That's his clothes. Where is this layer? That is that layer. It's a tracing layer. There we go. Those are the people getting thrown, but I'm not gonna work on that right now. This is Spino stuff here. That is the Spino. Okay. Did I just screw something up? This is why you gotta be organized. So I want this to be white so I can see my character better. I think. There we go. Okay. Ernie, thank you. Thanks a lot. I'm trying. I basically redrew everything because I wasn't happy with it. You might see me redraw several things during the stream too. It's one of those things like sometimes when something doesn't look right, it's just better to redraw it than to like try and push and pull something that's not working into shape. So that was the case. So I redrew well basically everything. The Spino for sure. The human character for sure. I like the human character much better now. I like his pose much better. I think there's still more work to do. I gotta resolve a lot with his costume. But right now, I'm gonna focus a little bit of time on the Spino because I want his skull shape to be right. And I'm kind of debating the position of his arm. It's like his arm could be raised, like almost like he tossed the boat up. Like he raised his arm out of the water. But another possible position that I'm trying to test is right as he slams it in. So you get that big splash. I'm not sure which one would be the best. But I'm going to try it out first and then make a decision. At the end, you're going to be the one who pushes the boat. Okay, let's get started in here. We gotta do some actual drawing right now. Okay. The other thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to kind of resist the urge to like render stuff. I want to stay in the drawing phase for a little while longer. I feel like usually once I get my drawing down, the rendering doesn't really take that long. The drawing is what takes the longest to get. And if I don't have that good and like established before I render, I feel like I lose a lot of time because I'm trying to correct the drawing while I'm rendering. So I'm like doubling up the work on myself. So I don't want to do that. I wouldn't say it's a mistake, but it's just like something that I feel like I could improve in my workflow. So I feel like I lose a lot of time when I do that. Like when I jump the gun and I start rendering too soon. I need to kind of chill out. Especially if I'm on a time crunch or a tighter deadline, it gets worse because I really want to start rendering right away. But gotta have some patience here. I don't like the pupil in there. I think maybe I can make his eyes kind of squinty. Give him a little bit more personality there. So he looks angry. Maybe a splash towards the boat would look great. Like a splash from his hand, like towards the big boat, like over this way. Found this channel. Have high hopes. Thanks, Halbert. Hernie, I wait a lot to render, but because I'm not that good yet. I'm not that good yet doing so. Okay. Yeah, it's hard. Rendering is like, I think people hype rendering up a lot because it's kind of like where you get your polish, right? Where the polishing of the image happens, depending on what style of illustration you're doing. But yeah, if your drawing is not solid, then I feel like you're kind of wasting time because you're just going to end up redoing that area anyway. So that's why I'm trying to resist the urge to render. Stay in line art phase. I'll probably do some shadow blocking. Like I think figuring out where the shadow shapes are and how they're going to work to describe the lighting is going to be really important. So I'm going to do shadow blocking for this. But to shadow block, you kind of have to have a really good idea of where all of the stuff is going to be, you know. And what I mean by shadow blocking is like have it. I don't know if I have a picture of my sketch. I don't. I can't believe I didn't put it there. Let me see. I don't know where I put it. It's basically this, you know, it's like finding, it's looking at your image like it was black and white and just like making very stark delineations between what's in the light and what's in the shadow. So that way you can like design the shadow shapes to be, to support the composition. We'll do it. We'll talk about it more when I get to it. I don't know if I'll get to that phase tonight. Think of it like comic books, you know, the way comic books, comic book inks look. That type of stuff. Or like Frank Frazetta, black and white Frank Frazetta drawings. You guys know who Frank Frazetta is? I like that face now. I say that and then I'll flip the canvas and then I'll hate it. Nictitating membrane like an alligator, Corey? You could, yeah. That might be cool. The only thing is if I put a nictitating membrane, it makes sense like logically, right? Because he's like he would be afraid of like harming his eyes. But I don't want to obscure the view of his eyeball, you know? I want to see the people. Maybe it's like a partial covering, like it's starting to cover his eye, but not fully covering. I don't know. There's times when like realism like that is like very cool, and then there's other times where it kind of works against your illustration. But I can try it and see how it looks. Yes, Kazark, thank you. Keep doing a good job, thanks. -1 membranes will probably be on the feet, depending on the type of Spino you want. Whether the classic one or the paleontologically correct one. This guy has webbing on his feet, so he will have webbing. Ernie, that's good to define and choose where the light is exactly coming from. Yeah, the shadow blocking, it helps a lot. What's really surprising when you do like that approach is like how much detail you can kind of omit. One thing that I've started to learn about painting, one thing that I want to get better at in my paintings is knowing when to leave out detail. Because that's also important. I think a lot of painters, especially in the beginning, they just want to cram all the detail that they can into their paintings and just like they kind of overload it. But oftentimes it's also about what you leave out as much as what you leave in. So I'm trying to get better at that. I feel like I need to practice being more conscious of that. Because oftentimes it kind of just works against you. Like, or I feel like this about my paintings is like it can make the painting feel overworked. And I like my paintings to feel very, not like uber loose, but like there is a slight looseness about them. There's like a painterliness, like a impressionistic aspect to them. Or at least that's what I'm leaning into more. I definitely have done a lot of like super rendered stuff, but I don't like those as much when I'm finished with them. I feel like they lose a lot of energy and a lot of life, I would say. So I'm trying to get better at that. So we'll see how I do on this. Thank you, Miss Kezark. I'll see you around. Yeah, I agree, Corey. I think we could try that. -1. Oh, hey, Justin. How's it going? Good to see you here. Thanks for coming. In the middle of redrawing this Spino for like the third time. One thing I also was like kind of fighting the urge to do is just sculpting really quickly, sculpting a Spino, like doing a block out of one and then posing it. I probably will do that eventually, but one thing that I'm also trying to work on is trying to get as far as I can without the aid of like 3D reference. And that, when I say that, if there's any like painters in the chat right now, when I say that, I don't mean don't use reference, because you should use reference. But there does come a point after you've painted for a very long time, when you kind of I feel like how do I put it? Like you should, when you're using reference, you should be observing and you should be learning. You shouldn't just be like copying it. You know, there's an aspect of you're trying to learn about the thing you're painting or drawing, and like internalize the information. That way you can that way you can build your visual library and then reuse that somewhere else. Like for example, if you guys know who Kim Jung-gi is, he was a really popular artist, and he's kind of famous for kind of like having a photographic memory, but also just like being able to draw anything from just with no reference at all. And I think people think that it's because he just like knows how to do it, you know, like it's like he's like some kind of prodigy or something. I don't think that was really the case. I think it's just he studied so much and he internalized all of that information of like drawing a person in like every angle possible that he can just recount it and then redo it on the page, you know? I don't want to, I don't know if I want to like go that far, but I feel like when I use 3D references, my drawings, they can get stiff. And I don't want this to stiffen up at all. So I'm trying to like, I have my reference here on the other monitor. And I'm trying to turn the head in space. I have a skull of a Spino, but it's in side view. So I'm trying to turn the head in space in my mind, right? And trying to get the angle correct. And then later on, I'll double check it and make sure it's right. But for right now, I want to get as far as I can with using my brain power, you know? But this is something I would not encourage like a beginner painter, illustrator, concept artist to do. Because I feel like you're kind of setting yourself up to make a lot of mistakes that way. We'll just say like this isn't my first go around with a Spinosaurus, right? Like I've painted and drawn Spinosaurus quite a lot. I've sculpted Spinosaurus several times, so I should know what his head looks like. Albert, it is mostly accurate. Like, if you saw the concept, we are exaggerating certain things about him. But you know, we'll get to the skin texture soon. I mean, a lot of it is going to be at this distance. You're not going to see a ton of like very distinct texture because their scales will probably be pretty tiny. It's going to look much more like leathery. It's not going to be like big scoot like scales going down the sides of him or anything, because he's pretty far. Like he's a good distance away from the camera, so it's going to be more leathery looking. You'll see like when the forms are turning, you'll see like little scales, like, you know, indications of scales. But for the distance and then also the style of the painting that I wanted to go for here, I'm not going to be like rendering out every single scale on this guy. Yeah, Herney, I did a whole concept for the Spino before we started the painting. This is the Spino. So it's fairly paleo accurate, with some caveats, like the legs are much bigger. We changed the shape of the sail to be more arced. It doesn't have the like this shape. And then I'm doing a little bit of like exaggeration of little thingies, you know, all this going on just to make it look a little bit more aggressive and so it's got some style to it, but it's not like crazy, like speculative or anything, I don't think. Yeah, that's the concept. So if you're wondering about if we have a concept or not, that's where that's coming from. So I have the concept here. What's some of your, Justin, what's some of your favorite Spinosaurus features you're looking forward to sculpting? I really love sculpting Spinosaurus arms and claws. I also am really excited about the tail. I like how like, oh, I messed up my monitor setup now. I forgot that I had the concept pulled up on here already. I really like the like salamander, like fishy kind of fin structure here. I haven't really done that on a final sculpt before. So I really want to see how that turns out. What else? Those two are my major ones that I really like. I always like the teeth and stuff, and like getting them to close and like interlock is fun. It's really satisfying when that all like ends up working out. Rumble, how's it going? Yeah, Justin. Yeah, the arms are going to be a lot of fun. I really like the way you sculpted your arms. So those definitely went into a reference folder. I really like just getting that sense of power across. I think it's really important, especially on a Spino, to really show how big and strong those arms are. Okay. I gotta figure out. I'm gonna throw another tracing layer on here. Because I want to figure out how this torso is working, and I don't want to get distracted by the head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw through all this. So I'm trying to imagine like how this rib cage is working back here, because I want to place I want to be able to place the sail correctly in space. So the rib cage, not only is the rib cage like going back kind of away from us in space like this, it's going back here, but it's also tilted, so it's not like perfectly vertical. So if you were to imagine like a box, right? The box is like this. So this part right here, this is the bottom of the box. That's what we're seeing. So we're seeing more of the bottom than the top. So the angle of the box is like this. So if you were to construct that and take that into space, right? The arc, there was like a fin on top of the box. The arc of that is very important. It's gonna change depending on the like how tilted away from us it is. So that's tricky. It's very tricky. And that's why I'm taking the time to plot it out like this. So I think it's going to end up looking something more like that than actually what I have here. Because you see how tall that is? That's actually like much more what you would see from like a straight on side view than from a tilted view like this. So I think I got that wrong. I have a hunch that I got that wrong. So I should redraw that. Actually, that box sketch helped me out a lot. Hey, Auntie, thank you. Latic. Sorry, I'm not able to give you like an exact date on that. You'd have to just keep up to date and check in the Discord and stuff. Justin, this one has no lips. We went with the no lips. I tried like full lips on this, on right here, on the sketch. I like it. I think it looks cool. I don't really mind Spino with lips, but I think we went with this. We went with the full on like lipless croc approach, which I think is a little bit more fitting for the game, the tone of the game. The mouth palette, you know, I'm not sure. We will get a good look at that in there. I'll sketch something out. How I would probably go about it. I need to grab a couple refs for some jaw muscles. Thank you for reminding me. So his tail is going to go... How far do I want his tail to go back up here? Maybe something like this. I can probably get rid of this box for now. That did help me a lot, actually. Sometimes just breaking it down into its most basic state really, really helps. How much do I want to get rid of? I only really need this top line, I think. And I know approximately where the corner is. The corner is usually where the shoulders are. Like right here. That's where the corner of the shoulder is. I actually... I might have made his torso too wide, maybe. His chest, maybe. Let me double check. I have a Spino. I'm going to the internet. Ernie, see you later. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I think I made his chest too wide. The coracoids on scapula and the coracoids on theropods are pretty narrow most of the time, I think. So I need to fix that. So I think what would happen is, so you have the neck, the base of the neck here, and then the coracoids would be in this like kind of V shape. And this is where the deltoid would originate from. So instead of being like up here, this would actually be down here more. Which, that works. It'll work out, I suppose. Maybe what I'll do is I'll draw it, because I already have the rough sketch there. I'll draw this here, like this, and then I'll just move it down. And then, so this foreshortening here is going to be rough, but we'll try it. Because the idea is he's kind of slapping the water, right? Like smack down right here. And then there'd be like a big water explosion, you know, around the hand. And then we'll have these guys in this boat here that's being snapped in half. It'll probably be... We have to make the boats break in the opposite direction. Like a taco, like it's folding. Instead of bending outward. I think I might like that better than the like original idea where he's like lifting it up. I feel like that feels more action-y, you know? When you're doing stuff like this, for me personally, in an illustration is very hard. Like my brain is working overtime with this stuff right here. Because you have to be so careful of like, you're thinking about perspective, you're thinking about anatomy, you're thinking about just like the overlaps, trying to get the overlaps to read properly, keeping things dynamic. There's so much happening here, so many overlaps. Foreshortening on arms, hands, fingers, legs is really hard for me. I can like power through it now, but when I was starting out as an illustrator, it was really, really rough. It would take me like hours and hours redrawing and redrawing to get things like this right. Thank you, -1. I think the direction of it snapping depends on the momentum of the jaws and initial direction of the force. It's like if it's the top of the head coming down and how the teeth overlap over the jaws. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, for sure. Smorked, I can't tell you. I can't give you like a exact estimate of when that will be. I mean, we're working on a tech demo, so that's going to be released first. And then I think what the plan is that they're going to like add to the tech demo over time. So it's going to be a while, basically. We're going to be gradually refining, implementing things, making things better. It's going to be a journey. But I don't have any like specific dates for you. Sorry. Rumble. Yeah, it's getting close. we have some cleanup stuff to do on the Prehistoric. Some texture work to finish off there, and then what we have to do is we have to make all the growth cycles for the Peru. That's one thing I didn't remember initially. So we still have to do growth for the Peru. We have to make a little baby Peru, and then all the stages in between. That's probably what we're going to be focusing in on this weekend, actually. I might do... I need to do some concepts for that, like sketches. So that way I know how I'm deforming the mesh to make the shape keys for that. So that's the last thing, really. And then, yeah, we'll be moving on to new stuff. Tropio. I'm fairly... Excuse me. I'm fairly certain that's what we'll be moving on to, is the Tropio. Baby Peru, the terror of Yui. What I'm kind of wondering is how big the babies will actually appear next to a human. I don't think I've seen images of them scaled. I don't know exactly, like, when we say baby, I don't know how tiny, you know? But it's going to be fun to see that. So we got the latissimus pulling here. Got some wrinkles for the armpit area right here. The deltoid popping in here. The biceps. Right there. Is this claw? I'm just wondering if this claw looks sharp enough. Big enough. Might make it bigger. A little bit bigger. Ethan, I mean, our Spinosaurus has like the majority of what you would associate with a modern Spino. Like it has the tail, the paddle tail. It has the web feet. It has the the shorter feet in proportion, like we exaggerated the size of the legs a little bit, but they still, I wouldn't say they're like offensively big or anything. So we are incorporating a lot of that stuff. I've sculpted and drawn scientifically accurate spinos before, or as scientifically accurate as you can have one. So I know what they're supposed to look like according to paleontology, as we know it right now. But we are we're taking we're having some fun with it here and there, It's not like super 100% strict paleo reconstruction. Ooh, yeah, Justin, that would be really awesome. Can you imagine the size of like because I've seen alligators do that. And then they make like the water like bubble and like bounce around. If it was that, but gigantic, that'd be crazy. Okay, I'm dilly-dallying because I don't want to draw these fingers. I know they're going to be hard, and I'm stalling. You guys ever do that kind of thing? Like, you have to get something done, but you start doing something else just so you don't have to do the other thing. I'll do that with chores a lot of the time. Or actually, instead of doing my work, I'll do chores. Because I know the work is going to be really hard. It's a procrastination thing. So one thing I want to get across with this is like the motion. Because like if you think about like a slap, right? Like if this is the surface of the water. I want the motion of the slap to be like, down, like that kind of swooping motion that you would make when you're like smacking something, like your hand, like imagining like more of an animation style where like the hand would like move back and then hit the surface. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at. So I need to make sure that the fingers like support that motion without looking broken, because I don't want it to look like he's got like a weird like flipper hand or something. That's where like this is like one of those moments where I wish I had taken more. Well, I never took an animation class. I wish I knew more about animation. So I feel like animators know how to make things feel like they're I mean, of course that's their job, right? They're supposed to make things feel like their emotion, but like even in still, like when you see an animator do gesture drawings, they have very nice like suggestion of motion, like indication of motion in their drawings. Like it feels like their drawings are moving even though they're just a single static image. I feel like that I would benefit from that, knowing more about that. They didn't really let us do that in college though. Like that was a real big pet peeve of mine when I was in school, is like, why wouldn't you let an illustrator, like they didn't let illustrators take animation classes. And I'm not talking about like actually animating, like just like fundamental animation classes where you learn about motion, understanding motion, suggesting motion, drawing motion, gesture. All that stuff is very valuable for an illustrator to learn. And then there's stuff that's very valuable for animators to learn from illustration. Because I think some of the animators that graduated from my school, they had very good like gesture drawing and stuff, but they didn't really understand anatomy very well. So they could make something look like a, very like in motion, but they couldn't make it look like correct, I would say. Like you could tell that their anatomy was like a little bit off, which is why they should have been able to take more like figure painting classes, but I don't think they were like allowed to do that. It's kind of weird. Let's see. Ethan, I've been drawing for my whole life, basically. Like it's one of those cases where I can't really pinpoint when I started drawing. I know I've been drawing for a long time, But yeah, I went to college for illustration. See you, Lubelsky. Thank you for stopping by. Delta, how's it going? Oh, Justin, yeah, for sure. That is probably one of the like more scary things. Just thinking about like the power behind like all of this, right? Like the forces that are exerted when an animal like this gets angry and decides to smack you. That is crazy. It's crazy to think about. And to think like they did that to each other, right? Like they bit each other, they smacked each other. They had these huge fights probably, and they survived afterwards. And then they healed and all that stuff. I mean, even animals today, like, I've seen some crazy videos. Like, I saw a lion rip a car door off of. It looked like a brand new car, and he just ripped the door off, and it didn't even look like he tried. And that's a lion, I've seen rhino just like casually just lift up a car, not even think about it. So you can imagine like what these guys must have been able to do. There is kind of fun stuff. I saw I don't know what zoo it was, but there's a zoo somewhere where they have like a tug of war. They have a rope that goes into a tiger enclosure or a lion enclosure. And I saw this video where it was just one lioness and she's just hanging out, like she doesn't even care. She has the rope partially in her mouth and then on her arm. She's just relaxing. She doesn't care. And then the camera pans over and there's like, I want to say like 4 or 5 guys just yanking on the rope, like big guys just yanking on the rope, trying to pull it, trying to pull it an inch, and they can't manage it. It's crazy. New dino. Achelyosaurus. Mexican hadrosaur. Let's see. Let's see. Northern New Mexico. Oh. I tried to minimize it. Now I screwed up my my windows. This one? That's a pretty cool illustration. It kind of looks like maybe a Raul Martin illustration, but I'm not sure. I get that vibe from it, from the background. It looks like a 3D model too, maybe. This looks very 3D to me. It's very nice. Yeah, I'll have to read up on it. Looks really cool though. Oh, you think the background was AI? I hope not. Art by Sergei Krasovsky. Okay, I know Sergei. How long do I think making the baby model will complete? I mean, sorry, I don't know how to read right now. How long do you think making the baby model will take to complete? 3 or 4 hours. 3 or 4 hours probably. Because I want to design it first, you know. I want to sketch out like an actual because I don't like going into Blender. I have to sculpt it in Blender, and I don't really like going into Blender without like a template, you know, like a background reference image. Because I don't want to like freeform it. So I'm gonna do a design. Make sure everyone's cool with the proportions, right? And then I will do a, I'll take it into Blender with the model, and then I will make the adjustment. So to do all that stuff, it would probably take like, I don't know, say like an hour to design it, to 2 hours to adjust the proportions, maybe. Something like that. But I have so I have to do the, I think they're calling it a hatchling. I can't remember what the naming convention is. Hatchling, juvenile, subadult, and then I have to do a female morph. So 2, 3, 4 versions. Female version is probably not going to be too hard though. That's very quick. No, it won't push Tropia back like a ton. Maybe like one stream back. So I think this is looking fairly good. There are things that I'm already like seeing that I would adjust, but let me see. I can probably warp this around now that I have my sketch right. Or like here, you know. Ethan, see ya. Kyle. I'm not sure. I think that might be still up in the air. They were talking about it earlier, and I didn't catch the answer to that. Furious was in the chat. I'm not sure if he's still here. But he would know more than I. So maybe if you ask him in his streams, you might get a better answer. But I don't know. It would be cool if it was on console. I don't see why we wouldn't like look into that. I think the part of it is more just like the technical aspect. But you know, I don't know for sure because I'm not I don't make the game work. I just make pretty things for the game to use, you know. Okay. So now that I got that sketched out, I'm going to move it. We're going to move it to its proper place. Oh, but I got to move everything together. Move everything together down here. Okay. Thanks, -1, for answering that question. So now that I'm fairly confident about how everything's working, I'm not gonna delete it. I'm gonna mask it out. And then once I'm happy, like this is kind of me kind of compositing my own work together, you know? Taking bits of a sketch from here that I like, and then a sketch from this layer that I like, and then merging it all together. It's very similar to the way I would work. I've only worked this way like a couple of times, but when I did traditional stuff for like planning big paintings, you'd have like a sketchbook, and then you'd have like multiple sketches, tracing paper. Sometimes you'd have to like tape an extra piece of paper to finish your sketch. Take a tracing paper, put it on top, tape it down, re-sketch the whole thing so it's one piece. And then you would just like continually like put together pieces like that until you had a good enough drawing. But that's how I feel about this stuff. It's kind of feels very similar. Sometimes I do miss working that way. It's very messy, but it is very satisfying once you get like because you can see all the work, you know, piling up and up and up, and at the end of it you have all this big stack of like sketches that show like the evolution of your painting or whatever. And it's really cool to go through those and see how you changed everything and how you adjusted stuff. Because I think one of the things that I used to get really stuck on when I was working traditionally, but also like when I was like newer, starting college basically, is I always felt like there was that pressure to like get things right the first time. Some artists can do that, and they're crazy, crazy skilled people who can just visualize stuff so well in their head that they can just execute it right the first time. I can't do that. And like once I kind of just accepted that that's just how my brain worked, you're just like, okay, you're probably not going to get this right the first time, but you'll get it right eventually. And just like stop worrying about, the one shot sort of thing. I became much more relaxed about how everything kind of unfolds. And it did become more fun for me, because the other way of just like, if you trying to get things right the first time is just very stressful and putting a lot of pressure on yourself to like, just not rework stuff. Let's see. Where is this is the arm and this is the body for the sail sketch. I'm going to go over this with some black because I want to get the little like serrated feeling to the sail. These little spiky bits here. And on the concept, there's like a smoother part right here where it transitions into the tail. So I want to get that in there. And then the tail gets very jaggy right here. Need to look something up real quick. Looking for jaw muscles. Okay. I think I found what I need. Oh my gosh, that's a huge image. Okay. Good night, -1. See you later. Thanks so much. Have a good night. Hope to see you soon. Okay. I just wanted, that kind of caught my eye right now, and I just wanted a little bit of an indication on how that was working there. Oh, I don't want to do that. The arm, I like the arm, but I think it's too big. Like it's coming out in space too far. And it's like creating the wrong perception of distance. So I'm just going to move it for now. I don't know. I might have to, I'm probably going to have to jostle a lot of things around. Justin, I always wonder about the scaling and look of the sail because it just seems so too unique of a feature to just be covered in plain surface of single size scales. Yeah, you know, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to approach that right now. I'm going to have to come up with some kind of solution. And you know what? Now that you mention it, I'm trying to think. Spinosaurus just joined. The design looks peak. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, Justin, I'm not. That's a good thing too. Good question. I've wondered the same a lot of the time. It's actually one of the areas of like whenever I work on Spinosaurus, it's like one of those areas that's like, what the heck do I do here? You know. I guess I can put this folder like this so I can see stuff. I don't know what I'm looking for. Oh, here we go. Here we go, here we go. Okay. Joel, are you mostly going for realistic designs or more Jurassic Park models? I'd say they lean more on the realistic side. I'm trying not to go for Jurassic Park models. I mean, I love me some Jurassic Park, but I think it would be very hard to like innovate when it comes to those designs, you know. So yeah, we're going with more realistic stuff. There is some like exaggerations here and there, liberties, but they're not like crazy. I wouldn't say they're like wild departures from reality. Justin, because it would be the most exposed to the sun, like how tips of tails get rough. Ah, that's a good point. Yeah, like they'd get more wear and tear because they're on the edge of the form. I gotta make sure I get this eye shape right. I feel like I'm gonna have to double check the crest position, maybe. that might be one spot where I don't know. I'll try my best to get it how I want it, but I feel like that might be one of those spots where it's just not going to look right until I do a quick 3D view of it. I wonder if I want to start going in with these right now. Maybe not. We will stick to this for the time being. True fan. Made it to alive. Welcome, welcome. Really love the Spino art. Thank you. Glad to hear it. Okay. This arm. What is this arm doing? I think it's just going to be underwater. Yeah, I could either... Yeah, I think it's just going to be underwater because it would be... Like, it would be hanging down here somewhere. Might be good just to draw it in, just to, like, make sure I know where it is, but I doubt you're going to see it. You're probably not going to see it at all. There's going to be... I mean, the waves are going to be, like... around here, and then there's going to be all kinds of like turbulence and foam and splashing and stuff right here, so I don't think you're going to see that at all, but I'll just draw through just a little bit so I have a landmark, and then we'll leave it alone. This is all going to be in shadow too because the light's coming from here. I I should actually change this so I'm picking the transparent pixels. So I'm not painting with white, I'm painting with transparency. Do I think something like this could ever happen in the game? I don't really see why not. You could be attacked by a Spino in water. I don't know exactly about the boats and stuff, but I think our team could make it happen. Or at least give you the ability to do this kind of stuff. I am kind of living in a little bit of a fantasy world here, you know? Like, I'm kind of telling a story, trying to tell a story that could happen in a world like this. Whether that's actually, like, gameplay wise possible, I don't really know for certain. I'm just trying to make like a cool image, you know. But I don't think what I have here is like unreasonable to have in the game. Thanks, Simon. Thank you. Okay. The nose here is going to be a little bit bumpy. I think I want to make the teeth a little bit irregular. So maybe there's like a little bit of a snaggle tooth here. Give it some uniqueness so it's not just like a perfect Spino mouth. Looks a little bit gnarly. Justin, that would be awesome. Fru. Man, that pencil never looks like that when I'm using it. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, there is that. I feel that same way too. When I see some artists like using a tool that's really interesting and fun looking to me, and then I try to use it, and then it's like, what the heck is going on? I definitely have had that happen to me as well. I actually don't know if you're going to even see these details in the mouth, because it's probably going to be very dark back here, but I'll incorporate them anyway, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jesse. What are those details in the mouth? So these are the internal nares. They're like the openings for the nasal passages that are inside of the mouth. They're on the upper palate, kind of like going in towards the back of the throat. Birds will have them. I think crocodiles and alligators do have them, but they're covered by the flap that's at the back of their throat. But yeah, they're usually not visible because they're so far back there and like up. But I think at this angle, you would probably be able to see them. But this is without lighting. I'm including them in there because we're just focusing on the line art right now, but we might not see them at the end because of the shadows. It might be too dark in here. So we'll see. Yeah, this is a breathing. It's I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, it's basically a way for them to breathe when their mouth is like completely full. I don't actually know if that would be something a Spinosaurus would have. It's kind of like a habit. I put that in there because I think it's a cool detail, and I've done it in the past, but I don't know if it's kind of speculative, I would say. I don't know. I don't know what the likelihood of Spinosaurus having it or not would be. I'd have to ask or look it up. It would be a very specific question, though. I don't think there are many people out there who would be able to give me a concrete answer on that. What's the plan for the progress of the stream? How much do you think you get done? I'm not planning on getting, I mean, I just planned on working mostly on the Spino and getting a good chunk solved. I'm mostly happy with the Spino at this point. Like the pose, I just need to finish like, you know, getting the details where I want it to be, and then I'm gonna do my my like shading passes on it. And what I mean by that is like, I kind of did it on the human figure, though he's not like totally there. Like what I would do is I'll come in with pretty dark color. Maybe not 100% black, but pretty close. And what I'm going to be doing is thinking about the light. So the light is coming from this way. So the majority of this guy is actually going to be in shadow, I think. Like it's going to be a lot of glancing light on him. So a lot of this is going to go into shadow. And this is just my initial like idea for the lighting scheme. If I'm adding this in and I feel like it doesn't really work out, then I'll change it to something else. But like, I know I want a good chunk of this in shadow, this part. This is all going to go into shadow. This. But there'll be a nice little, I want a nice little like edge highlight. There'll be a highlight here. This will catch some lights. Maybe this. So you see how that starts to feel, you know, it starts to like pop, you know? Like you can catch the edges of these little areas, and this is where I'm starting to adapt the light, right? Because maybe that's too much, like too much side light, you know, coming directly from the side on his right. It would be his right side, so maybe I need to rotate the light just a little bit over to the front of his face. So that's how I can like start to adapt the lighting direction. And I can start to get all these little indications of details in here. But like, I would say like 80% of the painting is completed like this. Like just this pass doing this shadow pass, doing the indications of detail, it'll carry like 80% of the painting. The thing about it though is it requires you to know where your stuff is, you know? Like it requires you to know where the pose to be, where you want it. Like you gotta, that's why I'm spending so much time on the drawing. Cause like you see, I just threw the shadows in there like really quick. It didn't take very long. This part of the process is really important, and it carries a lot of the painting, like I said, but it actually doesn't take too long. As long as you know where everything is, that's what the caveat. You got to know where all your stuff is. Once you know where all of your details are going to go, then you can add your light really, really quick, and it actually comes together really, very fast. If you don't know where all this stuff is, then you're going to be going back and forth. Because I can add really quick details like in here, especially in the areas of the form where things turn away, like this right here. I can start adding little indications of scales and stuff, and it's basically like, it's pretty free detail. Like I'm not really working very hard to get this indication of scales right here. And a lot of this, I mean, of course I'd take more care with it, but this is pretty much all you need to like sell that this is a scaly creature. You don't need to actually go in there and make every single scale. You just need to show how the light behaves on the scales in certain areas. That's what I was talking about earlier, of like knowing when to leave details out and when to put them in. So I think a lot of people think that you have to literally come in and draw every little single scale and get all of that in there. First, that takes a lot of time. You're gonna like kill yourself doing that. It's not required. And actually, there are artists who do that, and they make it look great. I'm not saying it's not possible, but in my case, I feel like it flattens the image. Like I feel like it makes it look overworked. It makes it look like stagnant. It makes it look. I just don't want to do that, you know. So I prefer doing this kind of detail work and like maybe a little bit of indication here and there. Especially for how far this guy is. Like if I zoom out, right, to how you're going to probably see it, like on the size of the computer screen, this area starts to feel much better. And I'm not going to get very much value from coming in here and doing every single scale. It's just not going to be, I don't think it'll be a great use of my time. But that's essentially what the next step is. So you guys might see like a big jump in the illustration between now and next Wednesday, because I need to keep moving on this. I can't restrict my progress to just the stream. But I'll try to maybe I'll do like a recording or something and show you guys how it evolved, and then we'll just pick up wherever it is next time. But yeah, that's kind of the next phase of it all, is like establishing the light, and then we'll get into some color and stuff. True fan, no flying dinos in the background yet. This is going to be through. It's going to be in like a river. Simon, not really. The fact that it'll be like wet won't make it too bad. It actually helped me because I can pop like certain highlights here and there because the skin will be shiny. Thanks, guys. Okay, I think that's probably going to be the end of the stream. So, let me make sure I save because I don't want to lose all that progress. But yeah, next time, hopefully, next time you'll see a big leap in this illustration and we'll have a good chunk of it completed because we really need this finished up here sooner than later. So thanks everyone for being here tonight. Have a good night, and I'll see you Saturday. If you want to come check out the stuff I'm doing with Purusaurus, I'll be online Saturday morning. All right, guys. Good night. Bye.